Four Corners. National parks. Sharon fear. What are national parks? Our world is a beautiful and interesting place. Mountains rise up to the clouds. Canyons give us glimpses deep into the ground. Lakes and rivers glint in the sun. The world also has millions of species of plants and animals. National parks all over the world help preserve many of these wonderful landforms and species. A national park is an area protected by a nation's government. Mining, farming, building, and hunting are usually banned in national parks. Most national parks protect animals, plants, and natural landscapes. Some protect historic places. A few parks protect the culture, or way of life, of the native peoples who live in them. Grand Canyon National Park, United States. Kruger National Park, South Africa. Creation of national parks. The United States created the world's first national park, Yellowstone National Park, in 1872. Yellowstone has 10,000 hot springs and 200 geysers like this one. Today, there are more than 4,000 national parks around the world. Glacier National Park, Canada. Lake District National Park, England. The national parks covered in this book are from 6 separate regions of the world. They are very different from one another. Each has its own unique plants, animals, and landforms, but the caretakers of the parks share 2 common goals. One is to protect the land as well as the plants, animals, and people who live in the parks. The other is to educate people about the wonders of these parks. Khao Yai National Park, Thailand. Bularu Khathatjuda National Park, Australia. Grand Canyon National Park, United States. At Grand Canyon National Park you can see 2 billion years of Earth's history carved in rock. The park is in northwest Arizona, in the United States. The scale of this rocky landscape is breathtaking. Apart from the unique landforms, the canyon and its rims, or borders, are also important historically. Several Native American groups once lived there. The U.S. government decided such a special place should be preserved. Name: Grand Canyon. National Park location: Arizona, United States. Established: 1919. Area: 4,931 square kilometers. Visitors per year: 5 million. The landscape. The Grand Canyon is one of the world's deepest canyons. It was carved out by the Colorado River. Imagine a huge gash in the Earth's surface, with steep, red rock walls measuring almost 2 kilometers at their deepest point. The canyon is 29 kilometers across at its widest point. Each layer of rock shows a different period in Earth's history. The lowest layers existed long before dinosaurs lived on Earth. The walls of the Grand Canyon are made up of approximately 40 different rock layers. How the canyon formed. The canyon is a plateau that slowly rose up. Wind and rain gradually wore it down. The rushing waters of the Colorado River began carving out the canyon 6 million years ago. The river still carries away hundreds of thousands of tons of rock, gravel, and sand every year. Wildlife. The park spans many different elevations, so it has several habitats. Hundreds of animal species live in these habitats. Many of these species are rare, native, and endangered. Near the river, coyotes, skunks, tree frogs, and rattlesnakes are common. In the inner canyon, thousands of bats and several endangered California condors roam the desert skies. In the forests, more than 50 mammal species can be found, including porcupines, black bears, foxes, and elk. Lizards and owls also live in the forests. Mexican spotted owl. Hunting, feeding, or approaching wildlife in the park is against the law. Gray fox. Porcupine. People and the park. The park is important to the history of Native peoples. Native Americans lived in the area for thousands of years, but now about 600 Havasupai are the only Native people remaining. They live in the remote inner canyon. Park visitors can visit the Havasupai Village and Museum. The park also provides accommodation and several activities for visitors. Walking, rafting, and bike riding are some ways people explore the canyon. Sightseeing tours are also popular. The park's popularity means increased pollution and erosion. Park rangers make sure that visitors follow the rules so that the Grand Canyon will be there for future generations to enjoy. Some adventurous visitors ride mules to the bottom of the canyon. The Havasu Falls, located near a Havasupai village, is a popular spot for picnics. Glacier National Park, Canada. Imagine a park full of ice and snow. Jagged, snow-capped mountain peaks tower over valleys. Rivers and waterfalls rush throughout the park. Avalanches crash down the hillsides. This is Glacier National Park in British Columbia, Canada, where an icy wilderness forms one of the world's natural treasures. No one has ever settled in this icy, rugged place. Name: Glacier National Park. Location: British Columbia, Canada. Established, 1886. Area: 1,349 square kilometers. Visitors per year: 600,000. Avalanche. An avalanche is a fast-moving, tumbling flow of rock, snow, and ice. Changes in temperature or vibrations from loud noises or small earthquakes can cause avalanches. The landscape. The park is best known for its 400 glaciers. Over time, these slow-moving rivers of ice helped carve out the rugged and varying terrain of the park. The park has many different climates and habitats due to the changes in elevation. High up on the mountains is the alpine tundra, where it is too cold for trees to grow. A temperate rainforest lies in the valleys, one of just a few cool and damp rainforests in the world. Many tracks within the park offer spectacular views of the glaciers. Glaciers change the land. Glaciers form when snow falls in places where it is too cold to melt. As the snow builds up over many years, it turns to ice. When the buildup of ice becomes heavy, it begins to move slowly downhill, carrying boulders and gravel as it goes. Rock grinding against rock causes erosion. Thousands of years ago, this kind of erosion created the park's deep valleys. Cutaway of a glacier moving ice. Direction of flow. Moose are strong swimmers and can cross lakes many kilometers wide. Grizzly bears hibernate for half the year, so they look for enough food to last for 6 months. Mountain goats' hooves are well adapted for rocky surfaces. Wildlife. Glacier National Park is home to many large animals, including deer, moose, and elk. Black bears and grizzly bears search for berries in the valleys. Mountain goats climb along high, rocky mountain ledges. Mountain caribou also live in the park. They are an endangered species. Caribou migrate to find food in winter. They need a great deal of space in which to live. In other places, people are pushing the caribou off the land. In Glacier National Park, no one interferes with their natural habitat. People and the park. The special challenge for this park is keeping visitors safe. Park rangers look for signs of avalanches. They also provide up-to-date information about the weather conditions. The danger does not keep visitors away. Tourists come to hike, mountain climb, camp, and ski. As well as the thousands of people who visit the park every year, another 3.5 million drive through on the highway. The managers of the park limit human activities to keep this precious landscape safe. The railway. The Transcontinental Railway was built about the same time the park was founded. It linked Canada from east to west and ran through the park. The railway owners hoped the beauty of the park would attract tourists. The Canadian government allowed the railway owners to build one hotel, and it is still the only hotel in the park. Mountain climbing is a popular sport at Glacier National Park. Lake District National Park, England. Farms and wild spaces sit side by side in Lake District National Park in northwest England. Low mountains are ringed with green valleys and lakes. The mountains, meadows, woods and valleys are dotted with villages and farms. The British government wants to keep this land as unspoiled as possible. However, the Lake District is different from most other national parks because many people live and work there. About 42,000 people live in the national park. They are, however, outnumbered by the 730,000 sheep. United Kingdom. England. Name, Lake District National Park. Location, Northwest England. Established, 1951. Area, 2,292 square kilometers. Visitors per year, 12 million. The landscape. Lake District National Park is the largest of England's 8 national parks. It is the site of England's highest mountain and largest lake. The park's central mountains are steep and jagged. Rounded, lower hills surround them. Long ago, glaciers scooped out hundreds of lakes in the area. There are strict rules about how park land can be used. Builders need permission to build and people must have licenses to fish in lakes and streams. Farmers are allowed to use very few chemicals for farming. Scafell Pike is England's highest mountain. England's largest lake is Lake Windermere. The varied landscape of Lake District National Park attracts many visitors. Wildlife. The park's habitats include mountains, wooded valleys, pastures, lakes and moors. Each habitat supports different kinds of wildlife. Mountain cliffs are nesting sites for the peregrine falcon. Lake shores attract many birds. The Venus fish is an endangered species that lives in these lakes, as does another rare species, the natterjack toad. More peregrines live in the Lake District than anywhere else in Europe. Otters can be found in many of the rivers within the park. The natterjack toad blends into its surroundings so that the toad is difficult to see. People and the park. People have lived in the Lake District for thousands of years. Stone Age people hunted and farmed there. Later, the ancient Romans built roads and villages in the area. The people who live in the district now are careful to preserve its historical sites. Visitors walk, birdwatch, swim or just enjoy the scenery. The park's popularity helps many of the residents who run hotels and restaurants and sell goods to tourists. Students and scientists come to study the unique wildlife. The Park Service offers many courses and lectures each year. Kayaking is popular in the Lake District. Walkers take a moment to enjoy the landscape at Lake District National Park. Kruger National Park, South Africa. Stretching for 354 kilometers along northeastern South Africa, Kruger National Park is the country's largest national park. Elephants, zebras, lions and giraffes all roam freely on the park's grassy plains. Nature lovers visit this wildlife reserve to admire hundreds of species of plants and animals. There, even the rarest species are safe from harm sometimes caused by humans. Zebras roam in herds on the plains of Kruger National Park. Africa. South Africa. Name, Kruger National Park. Location, Northeast South Africa. Established, 1898. Area, 19,632 square kilometers. Visitors per year, 500,000. The landscape. The park is mostly flat, with some low hills. It lies in a savanna region, which has grassy plains with a few trees, dense bush and shrubs. The area has a wet and a dry season. In the dry season, when rainfall is very low, not many plants grow. There is, however, enough rain in the wet season to sustain shrubs and trees. Some subtropical forest grows along the banks of the park's rivers. Plant life. Plants are specially adapted to their savanna habitat. They have developed many ways to protect themselves. Many shrubs and trees, such as the acacia, have long thorns for protection against grazing animals. The large trunk of the baobab tree, shown above, stores moisture for times of drought. Wildlife. The park's savanna and forest provide homes for many kinds of wildlife. Savanna grasses, shrubs, and trees support huge herds of herbivores or plant-eating animals. Giraffes, elephants, impala, warthogs, and hippopotamuses all survive on plants. Carnivores, or meat-eating animals, such as lions and leopards, hunt on the plains. Several hundred species of birds also live in the park, including many hornbills. Zebras, buffaloes, and baboons live on the plains, and crocodiles are common in the rivers. There are also about 250 endangered black rhinoceroses. Giraffes can reach up high to eat the leaves on tall trees. People and the park. The park offers many activities for visitors. People can explore by walking one of the wilderness trails with an experienced guide. They may also drive on more than 2,400 kilometers of roads. It is important to protect the park against damage because many endangered species live there. Visitors may travel only between sunrise and sunset unless they are on a guided night safari. After dark, people must leave the park area or stay in one of the fenced-in rest camps. This protects both the animals and the people. In addition, park rangers carry out important conservation work. Thanks to their hard work, the wildlife continues to thrive. Visitors to the park can stay in special fenced-in rest camps. A group of tourists watch wildlife from a safe distance. Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park, Australia. The biggest rock in the world is 335-meter Uluru, the giant red monolith located in the Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park. The park is in central Australia. Aside from Uluru and Kata Tjuta, the local landscape is mostly flat, sandy plains. Uluru is recognized by nearly everyone in Australia. It has become a symbol of the heart of the country. At sunset, visitors watch it take on spectacular colors in the changing light. Northern Territory, Australia. Name: Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park. Location: Northern Territory, Australia. Established: 1958. Area: 1,256 square kilometers. Visitors per year: 650,000. Uluru, shown here, is an Aboriginal name meaning Great Pebble. At sunset, the domes of Kata Tjuta glow. The colors change from pink and orange to red and purple. The landscape. Uluru and Kata Tjuta, a group of large sandstone rocks, are the highlights of the park. Uluru is not only the world's biggest rock, but it is also one of the world's oldest. Millions of years ago, it was once an island in a lake. Kata Tjuta is a group of stones with rounded tops. About 30 of them are scattered around the park. Like Uluru, they stand high above the flat plain. Uluru Kata Tjuta history. These lands traditionally belonged to the first peoples of Australia, the Aboriginal peoples. In 1985, the government returned the land to the Anangu people. Uluru Kata Tjuta is the Aboriginal name for this place. Now the Anangu people and the Australian government manage the land together. Anangu people. The thorny devil lizard stays cool by absorbing moisture through its skin. At the base of Uluru, a natural flow of water sustains the animals and plant life. Wildlife. The animals that live in this desert habitat have to survive very hot and dry conditions. Native mammals include kangaroos, dingoes, bats, and various small marsupials and rodents. Many species of birds, such as parrots and thornbills, can also be found. Reptiles, including thorny devil lizards and Woma pythons, are well suited to this habitat. Foxes, cats, rabbits, and other species, introduced into Australia in the past few hundred years, compete with native animals for food. Wallabies survive in the hot climate by resting under trees. People and the park. Uluru Kata Tjuta is a sacred place to the Aboriginal people. the rocks and the tracks. Nearby play important roles in their history and their stories. Visitors are asked not to climb the rocks. The Anangu people want the park to remain unspoiled. They are the caretakers of the region and wish to protect the land. Visitors to the park can walk or drive around the rocks or tour the park on camels. They can also learn a great deal about the Anangu. Park rangers give educational talks every day about the lives and traditions of the Aboriginal peoples. Aboriginal art appears in rock caves at the park. Although not native to Australia, camels are used to take people around the desert landscape. Khao Yai National Park, Thailand. Khao Yai National Park in northeastern Thailand includes many different habitats: rainforests, grasslands, and mountains. Perhaps the most fascinating are the steamy forests filled with exotic flowers, birds, and animals. It is the amazing variety of living things that makes Khao Yai so special. Today, forest covers only about a quarter of Thailand as rainforests are being destroyed for timber and farmland. Khao Yai was the first national park to be established in Thailand, and its continued protection is important. Asia. Thailand. Name: Khao Yai National Park. Location: Northeast Thailand. Established: 1962. Area: 1994 square kilometers. Visitors per year: 1.4 million. Visitors to Khao Yai can enjoy walking or birdwatching in the park's forests. The landscape. Within the park there are several mountains that stand more than 914 meters tall. The park is the source of 5 important rivers that nourish the land. There are also many beautiful waterfalls. The grasslands contain many plant species, while evergreen and deciduous trees grow in thick forests. Tropical rainforests are the most interesting feature of the park. Rainforests like these are fascinating because they are home to more than half of all the plant and animal species on Earth. Heo Suat Waterfall is one of many waterfalls found in the park. Layers of a rainforest. Most plants and animals live in the canopy layer because it receives the most sun and rain. The forest floor is home to large animals that hunt on the ground and plants that grow in damp areas, such as ferns. Emergent layer. Canopy. Understory. Forest floor. Wildlife. Thailand's tigers, elephants, and gibbons are all endangered. These animals are protected from harm by humans within Khao Yai National Park. Other large animals found in the park include monkeys, tigers, bears, deer, and wild boars. Most of the park's wildlife inhabits the rainforest areas, which also contain many species of insects, bats, tree frogs, and snakes. There are more than 300 species of birds, including the Siamese fireback pheasant, Thailand's national bird. Saturn butterflies are protected in the park. There are only about 500 tigers left in Thailand. White-handed gibbons live in the tropical rainforest. People and the park. Visitors can explore the park in many ways. People are encouraged to hire a guide to lead them on the various walking tracks. They can also access special viewing towers for a look at rare animals. Park rangers also organize night drives for visitors to look for creatures that are active at night. To better protect wildlife, no hotels or tourist facilities have been built in the park. Sometimes, however, visitors are given permission to stay overnight in small houses within the park. If people take care, Khao Yai will continue to be a safe home for hundreds of species of plants and animals. Visitors take an elephant ride with their guide through the park's forests. The future of national parks. As the world's population grows, more and more land is being used for housing and farming. Animals and plants are losing their homes and food supplies. As a result, many species are in danger of becoming extinct. The establishment of national parks is one way in which some of the Earth's natural habitats, landforms, plants, and animals are being preserved. Visitors are stunned by the view at Grand Canyon National Park. Fire danger. Moderate. Today. Prevent forest fires. This signpost warns of potential dangers and instructs park visitors how to behave. Glossary. Alpine tundra. A type of habitat that is above the tree line. On mountains. Conservation. The care and protection of forests, water, and other natural resources. Deciduous. Shedding leaves yearly. Elevations. Heights above sea level. Endangered. In danger of becoming extinct. Erosion. The wearing away of rock or soil by natural processes, such as wind, water, and ice. Extinct. Condition in which all the plants or animals in a species have died. Geysers. Springs that eject boiling water and steam up into the air. Habitats. Kinds of places where a plant or animal lives. Moors. Open stretches of land with few trees, often swampy. Native. Belonging to a place. Plateau. A large, flat area that is raised above the surrounding land. Savanna. A flat, open region with few trees. Species. A group of closely related living things. Subtropical. A warm climate, nearly tropical. Terrain. Land and its natural features.